The 719th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMASGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And we're also brought to you by Rebet, a new sports book available in 45 states. Download Rebet in your app store and use promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $100. And lastly, we're brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing the college football and NFL seasons with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Yo, Degenerinos. Welcome to episode 719 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to Daniel Cormier's burner account, which was hanging out in our Discord last night, I've been told. So this just goes out to you. You may see the subtitle of this episode. By the way, I am a big King of the North, Taco Fox. Subtitle of this episode is $594.75. Do you know why it's called that, Gumby Vreeland?
Is that what your brand new backdrop cost you?
No. Yes, I didn't get kicked out of my house by my wife yet. This is actually the same house, different backdrop. That's how much money I am up on UFC this year. End of the year.
I thought you were going to say that's what you spent your entire winnings on is the backdrop, which, by the way, looking real nice.
Thank you.
Even
have plans to make it look like.
That's American money too, not even Canadian.
Yes.
You get even more after the exchange rate.
Exactly. I am up almost $590. I ended up almost $595 on the UFC, betting $100 in every fight. How insane is that?
Every money line, not even every fight. Every money
That's
line,
right. Yeah.
Which is just like first of all, not a real way to win money.
It is now.
It's a crazy strategy for anybody to do, and obviously it's only like a shtick on this show. But like to do it the whole year and make it work is that's pretty wild. You were close last year, 2 years ago.
I lasted about 3/4 of this year, and then I fell off like once fall hit. I hit the bricks, but yeah, somehow I did it. So people were worried in the Discord I had jinxed myself. So I was behind
the first two fights. I thought you did.
Yeah. And I was behind watching it, so I was very nervous watching. Like, oh wait a minute, I'm good. So yeah, I ended up losing money last night. Gumby and I both went 8-5, lost some money, but we hit Cub Swanson. That was a very fulfilling pick. It felt good seeing Cub Swanson come through.
And if you were hanging out in the Discord, there were lots of like winning live picks. There were a lot of people getting down on the live line of Dustin Jacoby, who so the books had him after the second round plus 600. And it was clearly 1-1. I was like, it's very obvious it's 1-1. The announcers were like, oh, Petrino's running over him. And I'm like, you guys clearly aren't watching the same fight I am, because he won that first round pretty handedly. And then the scorecards came out after the violent knockout, which, by the way, was not what I was expecting when I was looking at his live line. But like then I was, he won, and I was like, I wonder if I was right or the announcers were right. Every single judge had the first round to Dustin Jacoby. So, shame on the books for listening to Daniel Cormier try to judge fights.
Maybe it was the body language that was throwing them off. Because
I think it was just the advancing. Like that's the number one thing that like UFC announcers struggle with when somebody's moving forward or like in better grappling positions, even if they're not doing damage, they automatically assume they're winning. And every counter in that first round was good for Jacoby, and even stunned him once, I thought. He had him on jelly legs. And so to see that line, I'm like, everybody's got to jump in on this line, because all he needs is just like one good technical kickboxing round and he wins this.
It was, if you're betting Jacoby, it had to have been a nervous experience, though. He looked very like he didn't look too comfortable in there. He
was fighting for his job. I mean, against a giant power puncher
who was taking wild swings at him. Yeah,
it was taking big cuts. So I mean, like, that makes sense to me. But
that was an amazing knockout. He corkscrewed him, which was amazing. The Cub Swanson knockout, a walk-off knockout, possibly in his last fight. It won't be his last fight, but it should be his last fight.
I kind of think it's going to be his last fight. Like, I know he's walked away once before, but he is also 41. It was a co-main event. It was a big live crowd. He doesn't have to go back to the freaking Apex. He's got 3 little kids. It seems like all of the writing is on the wall for him to like walk away right now.
He should. You're not going to get a better walk off than that. And people are going to confuse him with Vince Pichel now with that look that he has. So I'm like, who is this guy in the cage?
It's a great mustache.
Yeah. Anything else? I know we don't usually do recaps, but we're getting in these slower seasons, so we have had a bit more time on these episodes. So
I thought Buckley looked fantastic.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
he did what he had to do. It was, Kobe looked bad, but whatever.
He's already a top 10 welterweight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like in the rankings, right? Like he's 9.
Mm-hmm.
He did well enough that made me be like, well, maybe that fight with Ian Gary would have been pretty damn competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. He did what he needed to do against the Colby Covington, who looked as bad as we kind of thought he was going to.
Yeah.
Because he's let's face it, a shell of himself now. But like in the same token, he knocked him down. Like, when was the last time you see Colby knocked down and nearly finished in the first round? Like that was as we know with Joaquin Buckley, he packs a hell of a punch and he looked pretty damn good technically.
Yep. And good. If you like knockouts, good fight card. If you're a fan of Josephine Knudsen, not as good of a fight card, but that's okay. Our girl lost, but that's all right. Well, she just needs some more power. That's a problem. If you don't have power and you stick around and fights too long, you're going to lose eventually. So, and today, as the title shows you, it's all about KSW. The Polish promotion is in France, so I'm going to have lots of Polish and French names to say today, which will always be a fun time. Before we dive into that, about our app. If you haven't listened already, hopefully you've listened to me, but the SGPN app you should download. It's free, and you have easy access to all our shows, all our picks, pages, and of course, our articles. Gumby and I give you daily, not just Gumby and I, but everyone gives you daily gambling articles. Gumby hit a greedy dick parlay, of course, plus 1,000 first bucket parlay the other day. So if you're following Gumby stuff, you would know all that. So get the app free wherever you get your apps. So, and UFC has gone dark for, it's not quite a month. It's about 3 weeks or so now, but that does not mean we're going dark. We are still bringing you the winning plays. And of course, I may be the king of UFC once again this year, but Gumby is the king of regional MMA. There's no disputing that. He's getting lots of props in the on the YouTube. I guess you did very good this weekend, and you're going to do very good today. But we'll probably talk about that in another episode. We've preambled enough. Thank you to whoever in the YouTube who says that they like our preamble.
The old heads like the preamble.
Yes, the old heads like it. KSW 101, Le Classique, is what we're covering today. We're going to cover every fight on it. This is another thing that people demand from us, and we're actually going to do it today because, like I said, less events going on in the holiday season, so we can kind of stretch our legs out and give you a full breakdown. So we're covering the full event. It's going down this Friday night, actually afternoon, if you're in the Eastern time zone, as we are. 1 p.m. Eastern is the start time. Confrontacja Zuk Walki is at the Paris La Défense Arena in Nanterre, France. 10 fights in a cage. We're going to break them all down for you. This is KSW. They stream on their own, right? KSW.
Yeah, they're a paid pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And that's the only, they don't have any TV deals anywhere as far as I know. So I think that's the spot, right?
Yeah, that's the legal spot for sure.
Gumby said it. Gumby said it, not me. All right. I'm not going off Topology. Topology has a fighter fighting back-to-back fights against 2 different opponents. So they aren't quite up to date. So we'll go on. And KSW, actually, we discovered right before we went on air that they have 2 different fight cards posted as well. So I think we're all on track now. We're starting off with a 139-pound catchweight bout, 63 kilos, 3 5-minute rounds. And the fighters are Hamou versus Karkula. First names I don't have right in front of me. Zakaria, Hamou, and it's Andrzej Karkula, right?
Andrzej, yeah.
Right, Andrzej. All right, let's break it down. Do you know the odds for this fight, Gumby?
I don't.
All right, good. This will be fun then. Let's break it down. Not much to say. I'm going to dare Gumby to give us some intel on these people. They both have 2 fights. Karkula 2-0 with 1 submission. This is his KSW debut. He's not fought in over a year. September 2023 was his last fight. He won by decision that one. And then Hamou is Tarzan, obviously. 2-0 with 1 submission as well. This is his debut as well. And that's all I got on him. So tell me the odds, and have you actually seen film on these 2 people?
I have. Hamou is going to be a favorite, right? Like a slight one?
No, you're incorrect.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with Karkula. I thought I was going to get him at dog money, which is kind of a bummer. Now I'm going to
172, sadly, for
Wow,
Karkula.
I'm kind of surprised he's that big of a favorite. I will say Hamou is a better striker, in my opinion. Karkula, if you watch his striking, he winds up a little bit on it. It's not like an alarming amount of winding up on it, particularly not for a guy who's 2-0. You know, like it's like a normal amount for a guy who's at that stage. Hamou does a lot less of that. He's got kind of like snappy kicks. He's like a much quicker kickboxer. But both of them seem to enjoy grappling or would like takedowns at some point in time. And if you watch Hamou, when he looks for those takedowns, a lot of it is like upper body, it's trips, it's muscly. And I've seen him a couple of times when he's gone to those lose scrambles because like, you know, it's less technical, it's less high percentage, you know, like he's using low percentage takedowns and sort of getting beaten to the point once he hits the mat sometimes. And like for a guy who likes to grapple, you don't want him being beaten to the point that he wants to get to. And if you watch Karkula, I think his wrestling is infinitely better than Hamou's. Like he is one of those guys who gets to the hips extremely well, both in his shots and like he connects his hands almost immediately. He's underneath, like, you know, he gets underneath the butt well. He picks up the takedown. He doesn't waste a lot of energy, like picking the guy up over his head just for show. You know, like he just gets his legs out from underneath him and dumps him on his side. Like, I really like the wrestling of Karkula for a guy who's only 2-0. And I think here in a fight with a guy who struggles a little bit with scrambling and struggles a little bit with wrestling positions, I think we're going to see all of the grappling favor Karkula. And as a result, like, I like him here. I'm a little bit bummed that you said, what was it, 173?
Yeah, 172, and then plus 114 on the other side.
Yeah, God, that's a ton of juice. Like,
it is.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's the same book or not. I think it is the same book too. So
yeah, that's wild. Maybe wait for that to show up to a more reputable book before you lay on that. But you know, I kind of thought people would like the snappy striking of Hamou, but I do think that advantage there is Karkula. I'll just be upset that I'm not getting him like a dog, like I kind of was hoping you would be.
Yeah. Who doesn't like snappy striking, right? Come on. Snappy striking's fun. We had a lot of snappy
not as fun as grinding wrestlers.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Nothing as fun as that. All right, before we dive into the next fight, Underdog Pick'em, I need to tell you about. I want to tell you. I don't just need to. I want to. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports. You can win up to 1,000 times with Underdog Streaks. That's even better than hitting. Oh, actually, it's the exact same as hitting a Grady Dick first basket prop as Gumby did. Underdog is always making it easier to win with profit boosts and gimme pick'ems. NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and more. They got it all. And Gumby, you can now use boosts and specials on all your flex entries. You know that already, but you're also going to give us a play, I believe.
Yeah, I'm going to take the lower than on Kirk Cousins passing yards on Monday Night Football. He's playing the Raiders, and he's been under 249.5 or lower than 249.5 in 2 of his last 3 games. And so I think this is another situation where lower than is probably in play.
All right, lower than is the play. Sign up. Another thing you should do is sign up with their code, obviously, MMA SGPN. To claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That would be underdogfantasy.com, promo code MMASGPN. And we are brought to you by Rebet. Rebet is a new social sportsbook available in 45 states. There are plenty of betting opportunities available on Rebet. It's easy to use and great for people in states where traditional sportsbooks may be restricted. Download Rebet in the App Store and use the promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $100. That's Rebet, promo code SGPN. And back to France, to a city I've never heard of. Have you ever heard of Nanterre, Gumby?
I have not.
You haven't hit there in your travels?
I have not.
It's a suburb in France. Probably suburb of what, though? Suburb of Paris. I've heard of Paris before.
That makes sense. I've been there.
There you go. All right, we are moving on to. I don't have odds for this fight as of yet, but what I do have is some fighters with some amazing names in it, right? So that's you win some, you lose some. We have got. First fighter, actually, I'll tell you the weight class first. They are fighting at 161 pounds, 73 kilos. Another fun weight class. Amaury Wako-Zabo in one side of the cage. He is from France. He's fighting against actually a Polish fighter. Just like the first fight was France versus Poland. This fighter is Maciej Rebacz. That sounds better. 3 5-minute rounds, 161 pounds. No odds, so we'll just kick into it. Rebacz is making his pro debut here. He's 9-4 as an amateur. He's knocked out 1 fighter and got 3 submissions as an amateur. He himself never got finished on the AMI ranks. He won 1 of his last 3, but he did win his last fight. It was back in October. He was an amateur champion. He also went 0-1 as an amateur kickboxer. Wako-Zabo is 2-0 as a pro with 1 knockout. This is his debut in KSW. Got 2 inches of height over Rebacz.
I think Wako-Zabo is going to be a sizable favorite here. The debut for Rebacz is probably not going to help him in getting favored. He is an IMAF guy, but he didn't win any of those. So like he's got a lot of high level experience, but I still like Wako-Zabo here. I'm going to say maybe like negative 170. Nick, like, you know, we could see a similar line to the one we saw in the last fight. And the reason I like him here is like, first of all, he can hold his own on his feet. I actually think he's a touch better on his feet than he is in the grappling department, despite the fact that he seems to prefer to shoot. Well, he actually likes a body lock more than he likes anything.
We love that.
It's not like trips like a Hamou, but like he does like the lower body lock style takedown, almost like he's maybe has a Greco-Roman background in terms of his wrestling, but like he can hang on his own on the feet. And then on the Rebacz side, I think he's a guy who I've seen in a lot of his fights, like drops his hands and tries to like style on you in terms of his striking. And it's good, but like, I like don't rate it all that much higher than Wako-Zabo. And then also it's taking like unnecessary risks. And in addition to that, like his takedown defense has shown some real holes in the past. Particularly like he had his back taken. I've seen 2 or 3 different fights where he's had his back taken already. And when you only have like a handful of amateur fights and a winning record, like that's kind of alarming, right? Because when you step up to those pro ranks, like those guys start to take advantage of it. And up against a guy who like likes body locks and prefers to have top control, like I think that's a problem for Rebacz. So I think Wako-Zabo here probably backs him up. They throw hands a little bit. Wako-Zabo gets into that clinch and dominates. So I'm gonna go Wako-Zabo here. I think that wrestling game is gonna be too much.
How the heck did you get video on this amateur guy, Gumby? Is it out there?
He's an IMMAF guy. So if you've got stuff from IMMAF, and then also one of there's a Polish amateur promotion. I want to say he fought for like 5 or 6 times, and they make their stuff pretty easily available. So I've seen actually like 2 or 3 of his fights.
All right, there you go. See, he's not just Tapology capping; he knows what he's talking about. This Gumby guy. All right. Also, if I butcher any names, Gumby did give me we ran through all the fights.
So. Don't blame me for your pronunciation.
No, I'm just saying. I'm still going to butcher the names, even though I've heard them said properly at least once. Assuming Gumby knows what he's saying, which we're just going to assume that. We're going to a featherweight bout next. Fabien, Xabidi, Nacim, Belhouachi. They're both from France. How did I do?
I think it's Xabidi. Xabidi. And then Belhouachi.
Belhouachi. Do you know the odds here, Gumby?
I didn't know. Oh no, I do have this one.
All right. We'll tell you about the dog first then. Xabidi. Daimo is the nickname. Daiymo. Don't ask. I don't know. 2-2 with 1 knockout. Never been finished in a fight. This is his debut in KSW. Loss, win, win, loss is the pattern of his career. Plus 100. Belhouachi. 3-3 with 3 submissions. He's been submitted himself twice. He also has gone loss, win, win, loss over his last 4. Got submitted in his last fight. Used to fight up at lightweight. He's at minus 150.
Yeah, I'm going to go Belhouachi. You said negative 150 on him, which is the line I saw as well. You know, Xabidi is got really good striking. Like I really like the way he puts combinations together, particularly his 1-2, real sharp. The problem is his grappling is just so bad. I've seen some really awful takedown defense again for him. And Belhouachi is a guy who, while takedowns aren't like the number one part of his game, he is all right on the takedowns. And more importantly, like he gets to the clinch a lot because he likes to throw elbows from the clinch, particularly. I question whether or not he's got good takedowns just because of like, I don't see very much of him, and when I do see him, it's kind of like he's doing it against bad competition who I don't necessarily trust. But with that being said, like I think it's enough to beat Xabidi because like Xabidi is just combinations and waiting for people to take him down. And that seems to be the theme of this episode. It's like a guy who can wrestle and a guy who I think has no clue what they're doing on the mat. And I'm going to take the guy who can wrestle a little bit every single time here. So give me Nacim, Belhouachi, and I think negative 150 is a pretty respectable line there.
All right. Not once the gens get their money down on it, it's going to all change there. All right. We are moving on to a fight with a Jaguar in it. It is 145 pounds, so another normal weight class here. Featherweight fight. Who is fighting in this fight? A Frenchman, that would be Alioune Nahaye. I butchered it. Did I not?
Yeah, I think it's Alioune.
Nahaye. And a German fighter, Eduard Kexel. 3 5-minute rounds, 145. I assume you've got the odds for everything else, right?
I don't have the odds for this one.
Oh, good. Okay.
This is one I don't have.
Let's have some fun then.
I'd like to be surprised.
Good. You're going to be surprised. Kexel is 10-1, 2 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once. This is his debut in KSW. He's won 6 straight fights, including his last fight via submission. He's not lost since March 2021. He used to fight at lightweight, 2 inches of height over Nahaye. I can't remember what it is. Nahaye, 3 years younger. And then I won't tell you the odds. Nahaye is Le Jaguar. I have no idea what that translates to. He's 14-4, 9 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been submitted twice. This is his debut as well. He's won 2 straight, 3 of 4, 6 of 8. Both of his past 2 wins have come via TKO. He's got multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Right, get the shirt, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Or get this shirt I'm wearing right now. Get sticky with it. That's our shirt, Gumby.
I know. I designed it.
You designed it, and you look like you'd never seen it before. Used to Nahaye, the Jaguar, we'll call him. Used to fight at 155, and I won't tell you the odds. So you tell me the odds. You tell me who's going to win.
I got to guess Kexel is like a negative 225 favorite.
No, minus 107. He's actually
the dog. Get out of it. That's
minus 140, minus 107.
That's a great line. Kexel should win this fight. I'm shocked he's a dog. He's like coming from Octagon and he's 10-1 versus 14-4 on the other side. And like Nahaye, maybe it's just that they love the power punching in Nahaye because the book sometimes like a guy with a big knockout power, and that's what he's got. He's clearly got big knockout power, but also like I know this is an audio medium for some of you and it's a video medium for others, but like when he comes forward, his hands are like out like this, like they're not close to his face. And like, I think maybe that's how he generates some of his like goofy power, but like he doesn't protect himself enough when he's moving forward. And I think Kexel is going to take advantage of that. And in addition to that, Kexel is an absolute bulldog, man. Like this is a guy who zaps every ounce of your energy out of you when he fights you, both because of his takedowns and also like he's one of those people who put you up against the cage. He's got really great head positioning. And just has a way of like taking every ounce of energy out of you. And when you're talking about a guy who he's fighting in Nahaye who has, really big power punching and like that's kind of his thing, the last thing you want is that somebody who could smother you for the first 3 minutes of the fight and zap all of that out of you. And I really do think that that's what Kexel can do here. Is Kexel can just move forward. As long as he avoids that first blow on the way into the clinch, he's either going to take him down or he's going to pin him against the cage and just absolutely zap everything out of him. So, I thought this guy was going to be a 2-1 favorite at even money or close to it. And if you find a book with a little bit less juice than whatever one we're pulling early in the week, like you're going to find, a plus number next to his name unless somebody bets that side up. I love Kexel there. That's going to be one of my favorite ones of the week.
There you go. Gummy got very excited when you heard that odds from me. So that is a good to hear. All right, before we get to the final fight of they're not really prelims, but we're just splitting in half. I think they consider everything the main card here. Maybe one of the fights is prelim. I got to tell you about mybookie.ag. We're brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie has been running on SGPN for years. Check out their new and improved website, great on mobile, plus props for every game and the live dealer casino. They even have new early cash out options. Check out the MMA odds there over at mybookie.ag and use our promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. And SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. You get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build you a model. You can now track your props in the Rhythm app. NFL picks, NFL props, college football, college basketball, NBA. Rhythm has it all. And naturally, they have Al Horford props. Of course. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And now back to KSW and France, Le Classique. We got one more fight to cover on this episode. It's a 10-fight card. We're going to get you 5 today, 5 tomorrow. All right. Lebout is the next fight. I assume that translates to the boot. Just a guess.
That's a fun guess.
Lebout. All right. He is not on Tapology. Tapology, get your act together. Do promotions have to put their own cards up in Tapology? Is that the deal, or what's the deal with
I think some of them do. I think Tapology is goes ahead and updates some on their own. I know they got some staffers who do that work. So I think some of it has to do with reporting and who chooses to like own their own accounts there.
Yeah.
Because you can like claim your promotion just like fighters can like claim their own fighter page.
Okay, cool. All right. Romain Debienne, he's from France, or as the Polish KSW website says, Francia, FRANC-JA. Did you know they called France?
Francia.
Francia. He's fighting at 170, in case I didn't mention that. He's from France. He's fighting a fellow Frenchman, Mickael Lebout, for France as well, or Francia. 3 5-minute rounds. We got odds. I got odds. I think Gumby's got odds too, right?
I got odds on this one. Yeah,
right.
I got on this one.
Debienne is our dog, barely. He's at 10-5, 6 knockouts. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted twice, so he's been finishing all his losses. This is his KSW debut. 6-1 over his last 7. Lost his last fight, via TKO. 2-0 in Bellator, 0-1 in PFL. Bellator championships on his
mantle.
Sorry, mid sip. Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Get sticky, like me. Has missed weight at 170. Used to fight at 185 and 205. An inch of reach over Lebout, 9 years younger, plus 110. Ragnar is Lebout's nickname, 23, 12, and 3. 1 knockout, 9 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times. This is his debut as well in KSW. He's won 3 of his last 4, got TKO'd in his last fight. He has not fought since April of 2023. He's not won since December 2022. 1-2 in the UFC. Regional champion. Used to fight at lightweight. 2011 pro MMA debut. An inch of height over Debienne, minus 150. So close one.
I'm going to go with Lebout, and I think, actually the matchmaking here actually plays into the fact that he has been off for so long. Because if you watch that fight, like his last fight, by the way, where he lost by TKO was to Lariano Staropoli. So like not a shameful loss by any stretch of the imagination. And in that fight, one of the things that I took away from watching Lebout was he bites on feints really hard. And that wound up being kind of tricky against Staropoli because Staropoli backed him up. And, Staropoli has some decent ground and pound too. And also Staropoli looks better when he's got your back against the cage in the first place. So like it was a bad thing in that fight. I actually think it's a good thing in this fight because if you watch Romain Debienne, I'm making him sound Italian. He's definitely not Italian. If you watch him fight, he's got a powerful right hand, but the problem is he winds up for like a day before it looks like one of those comic book, like he's just gonna, load it up, similar to Mike Tyson Punch Out, and then he's gonna deliver that punch. And it's powerful and it's impressive and he's put people away with it. But the problem is that like, if he's fighting a guy who bites too much on feints in the first place, that guy's not going to hang around for that punch. Yeah. He's going to get out of dodge every single time. So one of the things I don't like about Lebout, and in terms of his fighting style in general, happens to just help him in this fight, in my opinion. And then in addition to that too, if you watch, Lebout, he like flicks a lot of kicks out there, which are disruptive to what Debienne will want to do. And in general, he wants to brawl, and Lebout just isn't going to let him brawl. So I like Lebout for that reason. Negative 150, yeah, maybe he gets thrown in a parlay at some point in time this week.
All right, he's a kick flipper. All right, let's recap. Lebout, Kexel, that's his most excited play right now. I assume he's put a bunch of money down since he heard about that line. I don't remember what book it was though, and they're not paying us, so I'm not going to remember. Belhouachi, Wako-Zabo, because of the name, obviously, and Karkula. That's half of your KSW in the books for you. We'll be back tomorrow. We're not leaving you high and dry during the could be very stressful holiday season. No, we'll be back tomorrow for you. In the meantime, we shall be in the Discord as per usual, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. We shall be checking out the comments on YouTube as per usual as well. That's MMA Gambling Podcast, not Money MMA. That's my Substack, MMA Gambling Podcast. Check us out on YouTube at SGPN, not YouTube, Twitter, SGPN MMA. Jeff's running out of steam here. He's at Gummy Breland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer there and on Instagram. My Substack, which for some reason I'm getting a whole bunch of subscribers today, which I appreciate. moneymma.substack.com. I will not take time off during the holiday as well. So check that out. Gumby, I don't know if I don't think you take time off Top Turtle during the Christmas holidays. Yeah. He's got Top Turtle. Do we know who's on it this week or not yet?
I'm definitely going to have some Octagon guests. I know I've got some other people possibly penciled in, but either this week or next week, you'll see one with Cecilie Bolander, who's going to be fighting on that end of the year card, as well as Will effing Fleury. And let me tell you, you're not going to want to miss this interview. The guy is electric.
I've heard about this interview. So yes, I can't wait to hear it. So check out the Top Turtle MMA podcast. And of course, we can be found at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. So you can get a cool shirt like mine or my hat, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon to get some bonus content. We shall be back tomorrow. Le Jaguar, Jeff Fox, Wako-Zabo, Vreeland will be there as well. We'll talk to you then. Not a nickname, but a